the Green Industry Hall of Fame Committee would like to congratulate all inductees for the 2015 event. We are very proud to show you this video. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd like to ask Kevin Sims to please come up.
Under the impression I only have about 1 to 2 minutes, so it's very short. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Sims, and I'll be introducing a special person I'm proud to call my mother. Some of my first memories with her include car rides. To her, it was just another day of driving to school. To me, it was an exciting adventure. She'd point to a tree and say, "What type of tree is that?" And I would answer. Growing up, she not only taught me about nature, but she taught everyone else through classes and lectures. Her passion for trees and education helped lead to the creation of the Sims Tree Learning Center, an arboretum that provides free nature and wildlife education to kids, as well as adults. It also made for a great place for a little boy to grow up. Most of you have come to know my mother for her never-ending knowledge and major contributions to this industry. Those close to her know her for her drive, her determination, her caring nature, and her humor. I'll leave you with a story. One day, myself, my mom, and a couple of my friends who were interested in learning more about trees were driving home from the LA Arboretum. As we were going down the freeway, one of my friends pointed out one of the cell phone towers disguised as a pine tree and asked, "Sue, what kind of tree is that?" Without missing a beat, she says, "Pinus artificialis." Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Sims.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me here. For those of you who've actually gone to my workshops and have heard me speak before, you know I usually have PowerPoint slides, and the PowerPoint slides are my cues. So it really feels awkward to talk about my own life and have to have a cheat sheet. So bear with me, please. So, again, I really appreciate this honor. It is hopefully going to go a long way to promote the Sims Tree Learning Center. So, but to get to it, my husband Gary and I, we opened our business in 1972, which that was 43 years ago. Gary always would bring home something from a tree or from an orchard and say, "Here, find out what this is." So that began a long process of going to the Department of Agriculture, talking to Dr. Elvin Rees, an entomologist at the time, and Dr. Gill, a pathologist, and learning entomology and some pathology. That began a very long quest for education. Then I met Ted Stanley. He was the Riverside Horticultural Extension, and he pushed me towards going to Cal Poly and becoming a master gardener, and also taught me into becoming a ISA certified arborist. Then one of my professors from Cal Poly, Dr. Fred Rock over here, is here to support me, like he always has, who is a great mentor too. Then another mentor, Dr. Alden Kelly, who's no longer with us, taught me to lay hands on trees. So I touch trees. It's kind of a spiritual thing. Sometimes I touch a tree out of respect. Sometimes it's sympathy because it's sick, or I'm going to have to say, "You got to go." Sometimes it's an apology, and sometimes it's occasionally just complete utter awe. So I'm sort of a tree hugger. Especially when I'm measuring a tree's diameter, you got to put your arms around it. That makes me a tree hugger. And when I'm posing for a picture with a great tree, I also will put my arms around it because it makes a good picture. So I lay my hands on trees. to touch them, they touched me back. So generally, a lot of people would agree that I'm a little touched. So it does sound a little sappy, and the pun is intended. My love for outdoors began years ago. I remember being a Girl Scout, and we went to church, and we all sat on half logs, and we had this beautiful vista out over a valley with a forest of trees. It was at that time I really fell in love with nature, and I found that this is where God's at. He's in the forest, he's in the mountains, he's in the gardens. So you usually don't find me at church. When I want to be close to God, I take a walk in the garden. Then, to say a little bit about my background, I inherited my ethics and desire to do good for my mother. Audrey Kenyon right here. Who would just as soon I didn't say that. So, my mom she's 96, who would also rather I didn't say that. So, my dad passed away after a very long illness, and he left my mom in debt. So at 70 years old, my mom went back to school, and she became a certified nursing assistant. And so she, for many years, was out being a caregiver and a helper. So she is a great role model, and I certainly hope I can live up to it. From Dad, his brother, his dad, his granddad, they were all engineers and inventors. And so from Dad, I learned how things worked and how to solve problems. Gary, my husband over here, he always pushed me and believed in me. He never thought that women should be any different as far as the things they could do. So, I mean, the first things I can remember is when we were dating, he pushed me into his stick-shift truck and said, "You can do it." And so I learned to drive a stick-shift truck. Without Gary, there would not be a tree line center, so he really should be up here also. And then my son Kevin. Kevin was born after Gary and I were married for 17 years. And he gave me a sense of purpose. That's when I really buckled down and started to work because, first of all, I couldn't run around anymore. I had to be stuck doing a job. And then all of his friends also came, and they learned, and they were very interested in the nature and the animals we have, and the birds and the plants. It was great. In fact, two of his good friends are here, Nicole and Brandon. Brandon just finished his Cal College education as a biologist, so he's working towards being a wildlife biologist, which works really well with my wildlife aware program. His friends hung out at the Tree Learning Center a lot, and hopefully they gained a lot of respect for nature. When Gary and I started our business, that was 1972, as I said earlier, this industry was a lot different. There were very few women. So I was fortunate to be, I kind of fought through a lot of it, but I was fortunate to stick with it and really fall in love with it. So the field of arboriculture, which is, I'm a master arborist in that field, arboriculture, it's changed incredibly. It's very science-driven now, and it's a very honorable profession. So I have, through Sims Tree Health Specialist, Sims Tree Learning Center, and Wildlife Aware Program, tried to promote respect and understanding of nature and mentor others. And I believe this honor that I'm getting today must mean I've had some measure of success. So I really thank you. And I cannot thank everyone who's helped me get where I'm at because there's just too many people. I hope to continue teaching, mentoring, and influencing people. I often use, and I really love it, and I try to share it with other people. It's the more you learn, the more you know you don't know. So I always think that's kind of a fun thing, because the person who thinks they know it all, you kind of want to step back from, because they haven't got a clue. And please support the Tree Learning Center. Thank you very much.